Hi, welcome to prayer.
Hey!
Morning.
We are Prayers Radio, and we are about prayer. Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind, prayer, and what works. And today
Affirmative prayer,
is
right?
no different. It's show 28, and we have a fabulous guest today. First, I'm Rev Rich. This is
Reverend
Reverend
Paul.
Paul, and this is our guest. Come on, Paul, now. Gia Ciambotti.
Hey!
So, as always, we're going to start off. We're going to start off with our first thing, which of course is have Gia pray us in, and then she's going to tell us a little bit about ourselves because she is a prayer practitioner, and she'll tell us all about that in just a moment. So, if you start us off, Gia, that'd be great.
Just giving thanks in this moment, recognizing that God is all there is, the I am that I am, the all in all. I know this for myself. I know this for everyone. I know this for this podcast, for Reverend Paul and Reverend Richard, and everyone watching, everyone listening, everyone within the sound of my voice. Just knowing it is good, is very good. This day is blessed. This moment is blessed. Our lives are blessed. Our life is blessed. And I'm just thankful for this. Thankful, thankful, thankful. And so it is.
So it is. Introductions are always great. So we are going to introduce Gia Ciambotti. She is a singer. She recently sung at ocspiritualcenter.com, and then you have to click on Vimeo to get the live broadcast of her singing, which is very important because somebody didn't click on the live one last time. But we won't say who. No. There we go. But anyways, the fun part about it is that she is a fabulous singer. She is a spiritual mogul, like we have had on the past on our show. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a prayer. I'm also a teacher. I'm a voice coach. I teach at the college level as well. I teach performance and voice. I love to deconstruct things. And so those of us that build and deconstruct and build, it's a great platform for teaching as well. So, yeah.
Wonderful.
A little bit of an overthinker. So this practice works for me.
So we had talked about Emerson University and things of that nature, which is, a lot of Ernest Holmes stuff is from Emerson himself. And look him up, folks. It's interesting. This show is about prayer, though. What works, and what is your experience on prayer? What have you learned about prayer that manifests in your life?
My experience with prayer is that I guess that like even a mantra is a prayer. Every thought is a prayer. Every word is a prayer. And I think about when we breathe, the molecules of air become the prayer. It's sort of like it's everywhere. It's in us. It's like we are the sage. We're the sage burning, We are that. I am that I am, and everyone. And that resonates. For some reason, that was one of the things that caught me when I read that I am. And it's out of the Bible. The way that it resonates within me caught me in a way that was so profound that it helped me get out of one of the most darkest places, because I was addicted to alcohol, unbeknownst to me. And so, it helped me find my way out of all of that and into 12 steps. I was already kind of studying mysticism at that point, so it just really added on to it. I see, then finding out that Ernest Holmes was friends with Bill W., who basically helped come up with the 12 steps. And of course it is. of course, because there's a mystical side of it. And I always said, if you took the big book, which, any person in a 12-step program, if you took the big book and put the word ego in place of alcohol, you'd have a mystical teaching, which it is
Mhm.
mystical teaching. So I see patterns. I don't mean that in a weird way, but I see how, like, if I take this formula, how does it work over here? How does this work here? How does,
Mm.
like, a recipe. To me, life is like a recipe. These tools are like recipes, and sometimes I add in, feel like some cinnamon, or sometimes I feel like it being the way I had it the first time I ever ate it, or sometimes I don't have any cinnamon, or I have, so I don't know if if that gets really existential or not.
Well, at the very beginning, you said you like to deconstruct.
Yeah.
Have you seen that in your prayer work as well?
Yeah. uh yes. I mean, coming into um CSL and learning that there was a way to pray,
Mm.
steps, I always think of it as a framework. Things are a framework to me. And then, sort of like, what do we do inside of the framework? Do we step outside of the framework? How do we, I think songs are like that. It's a framework.
Mm.
And then you work within the framework, and then you see what else can happen within it, and without the framework, or outside of the margins, as it were, like jazz.
Now, how do you stay grounded in that prayer work, in that framework that you mentioned?
You know, I feel like there's so much that we can do. The sort of like, there's a saying, treat and move your feet.
Mm.
And I feel like the move your feet part is not necessarily about the treatment. It's about, like, putting our attention on something and then taking it off in a way that is not poking it. In other words, if I plant that seed of prayer, don't go digging it up. Plant the seed and then do something else in the garden,
Mm.
or read a book, or tell a joke, or take a walk. So how I stay grounded, it's like, I think there's a lot to it. I realize that there's, like, exercise is great, reading is great, breathing is great, conscious breathing, um, connecting with people.
Mm.
I do that with my students. I am always practicing without telling anyone anything, because I'm actually, yeah, and I'm always practicing. And the interesting thing is, I have Chinese students, and there's no religion in China. But truth is true. And
Mm.
so when I say, there's a life force in all of us, and it wants to express in this way, and you've chosen to be a singer, and this is how this works, and their eyes are like, woo, because it's truth is true. It really isn't. We don't, the words. I love getting outside of the terminologies of science of mind when I'm just in. It's taken me a really long time to learn how to get out of the terminologies, so that I can just be speaking in my daily life. Um, I say my daily life. That's not fair. Speaking with people who don't have God as a thing, because the word God can get really sticky, with
Yeah, triggering.
depending on where you are and who you're with, and depending on how other people use it. Honestly, like, the punitive God is bad news. So
We did a different shows, many gods, and Ernest Holmes talks about that, and what is God, and which God are you praying to? Because if you're Indian, you've got hundreds of gods or thousands of them,
yeah.
and everybody says God. Well, which God? Which
Well,
God are you talking about?
yeah. I mean, I feel like, when you say, you speak of East Indian, and I'm thinking of the First Nation people, and how the water was God, the earth was God, the sky was God, the air was God. Like, of course, because it is. It's all God. And so you could assign a different, like a seemingly different thing to it. I think with the Western mind, I don't know that we understand that, Sekhmet and Hathor, and these are aspect, and Seshet, these are aspects of Isis. And
Like
Isis is an aspect,
but
a feminine aspect of God.
and then as we apply it to prayer, that's something we should look at also.
Yeah.
How do you, yeah, and when in Science of Mind, how do you see that? How do you see that working in your life when you're applying it using Science of Mind in your prayers, in your prayer daily prayers, if you will?
God is, God is, God is. That's how I feel about it. That I don't necessarily feel like it's different. I feel like it's part of the same thing. Does that make
Oh yeah,
sense?
yeah. Because earlier you talked about the recipe, and we have the 5 step, 7 step, and if we really go down, we go to 3 step and 1 step, depending on how you're looking at it. As Jim Terrell talks about, 40-year minister plus. Uh, but you have a way of putting the prayer out so it's understandable, because you talked about your students and you want them to have an understanding of that introspection of themselves when they're actually, in your sense, making a prayer, but in their sense, uh, celebrating their own life, if you will. Would that be correct? Or
Well, yeah, I don't think of it as prayer so much as the beingness, what that has you in here wanting to do something that's maybe difficult, or in other words, there's a part of us that is so precious, and it's a miracle.
Mm.
And so obviously, as a teacher, and they're in school, and we're monetized, things are monetized, and you're a pop star, or you're not a star, or you're this or that, but something has you wanting to make music, create in whatever way. Something has you, however, wherever you are in your life, something has you wanting to express something, and to, I think it's about bypassing the judgment part. I don't think we ever get to a place. I mean, maybe. I shouldn't say that. I'll walk that back. I feel like we like it's okay to make your love bigger than your fear, beyond the judgment, beyond all of it. And you have to, and that's the thing, is like that sort of like Jesus, I think, talked about turning the other cheek. And so there's all this stuff right on my, well, it's funny because right is left and left is right on the screen here, right? So we want to look where it's, we see where it's not. And so I feel like this prayer is that turning of the other cheek. It's like, well, I see what it's not. So what is it? Show me what it is.
that redirection, that goes to our one of our questions, in that uh, how do you see your prayers evolving since you've started with Science of Mind? We know the prayer, but we're looking for the prayer that you have right now that is sort of built up and just says, boom, this works.
I do a thing in the morning. Um, God is, God is, God is. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am my I am presence. And I am one with my I am presence. And then I say thank you for this day. And then I design the day, this day of love, this day of wonder, this day of recognition, this day of blessings, this day of perfection, this day, and just whatever comes to me. And then I bless myself and my husband, and then I bless everyone, like whoever comes into my head. And then I say, um, I bless everyone seen and unseen, known and unknown. And that's how I walk into, and I do that before I open my eyes, before I get up, before I actually open my eyes into consciousness. So
Beautiful.
I don't share that very often because it's very like personalized. Although, and then I give thanks. It is
Oh
literally is a 5-step prayer.
And then you talked about letting go of the prayer and stuff earlier. Well, you inferred to that, saying that once you get done with it, you just you let it go and let God, if you will, which it was a different way of saying it, and I like that.
Yeah.
You were original and authentic on that, because a lot of
Uh,
people have their authentic self, and I want to thank you for that. Paul, you want to get the next question?
Well, I was wondering, how has your prayer changed over the years? How have you seen it change for yourself?
I feel like it's like it's more facile, like it can be short. Actually, Karen Drucker brought up Anne Lamott, and I think she actually wrote a book called Help, Thanks, Wow. The three different prayers, not three stages of prayer, but three completely different prayers. The first one is help, and then the other one is thanks, and then it's wow. And I feel like wow is communion.
Hmm.
Wow is just like it's all of it. I'm all of it. It's all of it. So I feel like that's evolved. Like as we know, all the major ancient cultures could track the stars, and I believe that part of the reason they could do that without any you know modern equipment is that they knew that they were a part of it. They weren't separate,
Hmm.
and so that sort of like in this culture we're in a lot of ways feeling so separate, and we've lost that connection of that we are it. We are it. We're part of it. The whole of God is within us, and we are in the whole of God. And I believe that as I go towards that, I'm just having a greater understanding of that.
Hmm.
And so, how that affects the prayer for me is that it can be that just I am that I am.
Hmm.
So you're present is what you're saying. Is that I am, that I am, that I am. So that it sounds like you're saying that you're present to the
Yeah,
specific
I
person
mean,
that
doesn't speaking of presence, isn't that really the only place? That's where all possibility lies, in presence,
yeah,
right?
Holmes
And
Holmes,
we just
Holmes
become the prayer in that sense. I know that that's like kind of
no, it's valid. I mean, if you read some of Holmes' later writings, he talks about that what you have right now, you can go back where that plant was a weed, and then it grew to be a tree that the tree is being now. He said, but you can change the way that you're looking at that specific moment of now going forward, as that tree not even existing, because you accept that greater good within you, and I think that's what you're trying to say on that. What do you think, Paul?
Well, to take it a little bit further, Holmes also said that the tree is in the seed once you plant the seed. So as Gia's saying, the prayer is in us as we're praying.
yeah. And the tree is in the seed, and the seed is in the tree, and
Mm.
it's really never separate. There is a process in what I would call real time, or it's not actual. It it does take, there's a process of the tree being in the seed,
Mm.
and then the seed being in the tree. But if you think about it, when we plant a seed, we don't sit there and coax it how to find the sunlight. That must be a really far out thing for a seed to crack open in the soil and then know exactly where it needs to go and how it needs to go. I think in a way an act of faith, but it's also an act of knowing. I think we all have a God of our own being, and I don't mean that it's separate from any other God, but that we really do uh, we we really do have that within us, like the seed has to find the sunlight.
So that God is in the seed, that God is the seed,
It is the seed. Yeah,
as we're the seeds of that.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And
it's
that
amazing
knowing.
because that little seed can grow anywhere. It could grow on the side of a mountain in a rock, but still has that life essence to grow.
I was I was on a freeway ramp. I'm in LA, and there's freeway ramps. Um, Out of the side of this, it wasn't even a rock. It was like a cement wall. Out of the side of the cement wall was a tree. And it was like, it wasn't a giant tree, but it was growing out of the side of the cement wall, and it was about 6 feet tall, coming out the side and then going straight up. Again, the sunlight going up,
Hmm.
right? Wildly. I think Karen had mentioned that, like the flower that comes out of the crack of the pavement, you know?
Yeah, she was on show 24 and absolutely fantastic. We like to have singers on like yourself because you bring a different perspective because of that artistic stuff, because you're singing inside of our spiritual communities, both yourself, Karen, and others, of course, that we'll have on
Yeah.
soon. We're not gonna give away the ghost, but the thing of it is that singers see things in such a different way. They see things in a way that where they're bringing out that harmonies. Do you have any specific harmonies that you want to share with our audience,
Harmonies.
or something, or maybe a mantra? Because we talked about a mantra on the pre-show, some type of mantra that might resonate with our audience. And if you don't, that's okay, because sometimes I'm speechless myself. Right, Paul?
Interesting. I have a couple of things that I do, but they're not actually songs or singing.
Put something short if you choose to. If not, we can go to the next question.
I always said that it would be better if I just sang my prayers, but I actually haven't sung my prayers. So maybe this is a challenge to do that. That's really good. Right?
Yeah.
So if I were, let's see. I am, we are, God is. I am, we are, God is. That's as
Beautiful.
far as that goes now. But that's something that's been rattling around in my brain for a while as a so.
An
Well, you just
original song on Prayers Radio.
Yeah.
there you go, original. That's right. And what's nice is that others get a flavor of the voice that is you.
So, Gia, how has prayer influenced your songwriting?
Well, there's a quote, and I don't remember who said it. Those who sing pray twice.
Oh,
Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah. So I feel like I think that songs are prayers. I, unlike many Science of Mind people, feel like I can hear the prayer in a Jimi Hendrix song. So I am like, I hear the music resonates me, and then I feel it. And even if it's blues music or it's saying something, and I actually stopped writing any kind of sad songs a while ago after I heard Reverend Michael say something about you're writing your story. And then I started writing like uplifting songs and songs about finding yourself and how does that, and that actually worked. I wrote a song about a really great relationship that happened, and then it took a minute, but and then it happened. So I'm living it now, and I wrote that song when I didn't even think that was a possibility. And I wrote it because I had seen Reverend Michael speak about a very impactful story of a woman who wanted to get out of a marriage. She was very unhappy, and she was in it was in a country where she needed her husband's permission, and she asked him, and he said absolutely not. And so she started writing these love letters to herself because she was so lonely, and she just basically wanted to express, something. And he found the letters, and he said, "Who wrote these?" And she said, "Actually, I did." And he said, "I don't believe you, but whoever wrote these should have you because they love you very, very much." And he released her out of the marriage. And I just remember that story being like, oh, right. We write a love letter to ourselves. We write a love letter to humanity. We write our own. Oftentimes we teach what we need to learn.
that was beautiful.
Yeah.
We're at the 5-minute mark, so we're going to start shotgunning our questions real quick here. What is your favorite Ernest Holmes book? And I'm going to give you a wide range on this.
I mean, I feel like it's the Ernest Holmes essays for me because of the level of it, because he gets into this poetic rhythm with some of the essays that just blow my mind.
Yeah, we talked about a couple of things before, and you said, "Oh, I like these, and I like these, and I like these." I'm like, "Ooh, okay." Let her just figure it out when she goes. Some of our guests were like, "You can't say these two, but you have to say these others if you can." Paul knows about that. If you watched her show, we're like, "No, you can't say that." What is your favorite Ernest Holmes quote?
What I'm looking for, I'm looking with and through and at. I believe that's the quote, but I know it's what I'm looking for, I'm looking with. And I heard that in 91. I took a class, and a science of mind class, and I read that in the book, and I didn't understand it at all. I had no clue, but I loved the way it sounded, and I wrote it on a Post-it note, and I remembered it. And then one day I was in Egypt studying the mysticism of the ancient Egyptian philosophy, and bam, I was actually on a bus with a bunch of people, and Egypt is beautiful. They have farmland, and anyway, it got like I just went bam, and I understood. Bam. I am that I am. It was like, oh, that's what it all, because it really all means the same thing. At some point, there's a million ways and a billion ways, or 7 or 9 billion ways to talk about the same exact thing. So
how do you explain science of mind to somebody who has no clue what you're talking about? What would be the short answer?
A life force energy that lives within us all, within everything, not just all of us, but every single thing.
And that we can access.
That we can access.
Yeah.
It is the life force within us that we access consciously.
And anything that you would want our viewers to kind of take away from this show?
I would like people to know that wherever they are, that they matter. And that any act of kindness is important, and it lands. And it's all being, everything we do is recorded in the Akashic record. So every bit of kindness and love and pure, authentic wellness and goodness goes on the plus side, and it's a beautiful thing, and we all matter.
That's gorgeous. I love that. Where can people reach you? We'll put some of your contact information and some of your recent shows, inside of the show notes, of course. But maybe they could email you or something like that if they want you.
Me. Come find me on Facebook. I'm Gia Ciambotti. I say that because I got the real ID, and now I'm just Giulietta everywhere. I say just. My full name is Giulietta. And I always had like a driver's license that said Gia and a passport that said Giulietta. And I loved that I was those two entities equally. And then I got the real ID, and I was like, I walked out of there with my driver's license going, oh my God, I'm only Gia on Facebook now. So.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful. Well, we are Prayers Radio. I am Reverend Rich of prayersradio.com. This is Reverend Paul.
I am at iamspirit.com.
I am spirit
I'm
alive.
spiritalive.com. And Gia, would you pray us out?
Yeah, that was the next question.
So giving thanks for this beautiful, beautiful moment of connection and communion and sharing. Know that it is good. It is very good. It is well. Knowing that what is heard is for each one of us. What we take away is really a piece of ourselves, just mirrored back to us. For this and all of these mirrors, these beautiful shining mirrors of love, I give thanks. And so it is.
And so it
So it
is.
is. Well, we will see you next week, or maybe sooner. Who knows? So,
And
everybody
thank you,
say
Gia,
bye.
for being part of this.
Yeah, we
Thank
do
you.
appreciate you.
So beautiful. What a pleasure.
Oh, we appreciate you coming on the show. So, everybody say bye.
Bye.